Hey guys, Brandon back again to have another Geek Culture Talk on the channel. Today we're in a different setup right now. We're in the same room where I shoot Geek Culture Talk, but we're shooting on my wall backdrop here with this nice little background and set. Looks pretty cool, huh? It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. So, on the weekend, I got the chance to play the Avengers beta, and I'm here to review it. Now, let me give my background on this game, first of all, if I was excited for it or not excited about it coming out and such. So back in 2017 when they announced this game, I was pretty excited for it, because first off, it was an Avengers game, so that's awesome. And second, they had just announced the Spider-Man game a year prior at E3. So I was like, ah, sick, we're getting a Spider-Man game and an Avengers game. It seems like Marvel's starting to really kick into high gear in the video game industry, with the Arkham series being very successful, and the Injustice series being very successful. So it seems like we're starting to get a lot of cool Marvel games. Finally, last year we got our first look at the game after 2 years since it was announced, and wasn't that impressed. I mean, like, it was pretty cool seeing we have a game where you can play as the Avengers and such, which looks pretty cool, but it didn't really, like, wow me like Spider-Man. I'm like, you know, this looks cool. It seemed like it would be a fun game, but I don't know, it's not really grabbing my attention that well. And plus, the models back then when they released that first trailer weren't great, particularly the faces did not look great. At Comic-Con a few months later, they fixed up the faces and revealed them, and they were a lot better and such. But now it's scheduled to come out in a few weeks on September 4th, and of course the beta was this past weekend. And wasn't really a fan. I mean, like, I don't know. It kind of met my expectations, which wasn't gonna be that impressed with it. I mean, there were some things that did exceed my expectations, like few things, but mostly I was like not entirely impressed. So yeah, on paper this sounds great, but just it wasn't for me. My first major problem, and has been my major problem since they released the first trailer last year, which is the story. The story just seems like such a weird choice for a story, and it's just predictable immediately, because like, this is obviously a new IP. They're probably planning to do several sequels, and like I heard the game is apparently planned to go on for a couple of years and such. So it's the first entry in a new series. So what we knew about the story when the first trailer came out was that the Avengers, you know, they're having a good day, going about their business and stuff. Then this big accident, a big attack happens on the San Francisco bridge and such. And then this explosion goes off in this helicarrier, and Captain America dies, and then the Avengers just disband. Which, when I saw that, I'm like, really? This is the first story? Like, and plus, it's so obvious. They're not gonna kill Captain America in the game's first story. Like, not in the first game. They're not gonna do that. Like, that's crazy. Like, it really is. And like, they know that everyone knows they don't kill him off in the game, because they promote him heavily still in the game's marketing. Like, he's on the cover of the game. There's, like, I think gameplay out there showing him still, or maybe just from the first mission, I don't know. But like, there's also, they promote DLC skins that feature Captain America skins. And also, another thing that heavily shows why he's not gonna die is that he's playable in the first mission. And like, he has his own playstyle and moveset. Like, if it wasn't already obvious enough, like, that makes it more obvious that he doesn't die. Like, giving him a moveset, having him playable at all, just makes it aware he won't die. Like, you wouldn't design this whole character with a moveset if he's only going to be in one mission at all. Like, no, he's obviously not going to die. And like that I already wasn't into, and that's what was kind of like not helping me grasp, like, getting excited for the game. But then the story it got worse for me. Like, not like awful, but just like, it's not interesting. So like, the Avengers were carrying this like device. It was dangerous and stuff in the helicarrier. They were keeping it safe. And then of course Taskmaster and a bunch of other, like, his goons and such attacked San Francisco Bridge, and like, they break into the helicarrier and like set that thing off, and it makes this big explosion that goes across the city, and it basically encapsulates people in tombs, and they emerge with superpowers. Which, this is basically the origin of the Inhumans in this game. Which, that I was already like, great, the Inhumans, awesome. Like, look, I didn't hate the Inhumans at first, like, when I first learned about them a couple years ago when I was younger. but now I kind of do. Like, but Marvel kept shoving them down our throats the last couple of years that it got to the point where I don't give a shit about them anymore. Because Marvel couldn't use the X-Men in the movies. Now they can, but a couple of years ago they couldn't because they were owned by Fox, their movie rights. So they decided to use the Inhumans as a substitute for the X-Men. And like, they just forced them down like every form of media. Like, it was ridiculous. Like, they were heavily involved and tied to the plots of several seasons of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. for the last couple of years. They had a movie that was coming out, but then they got turned into a TV show, which I saw the first two episodes in IMAX. They were awful. I never watched the show after that, but those first two episodes were, just awful. They were heavily involved in several different comic book storylines like Civil War 2. They were in so many video games as key players in the stories, like LEGO Marvel Super Heroes 2, Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3. I think they were in the recent Marvel vs. Capcom game. Like, they were just everywhere, and I'm like, I don't care about them anymore. Like, oh my god, I don't care. Like, I knew some Inhuman stuff was going to be in this game because Kamala Khan's Inhuman and she's one of the main characters of the story. But I'm good with her. I like her character. But I didn't think there'd be this heavy involvement of Inhumans in the plotline, which I didn't like at all. And also, AIM's the main villain of the game, which I don't know how I feel about AIM being the main villain. I don't know, really. Also, there's this one there's one point in the story it's so obvious, the plot point to it. So there's this scientist who, his name, I forget his name now, but he was there on A-Day. A-Day is what they named the event when that explosion went off. So he was there on the helicarrier with Captain America when that explosion went off. After, of course, the Avengers disbanded, plus also now the Avengers and superheroes in general are now just outlawed in the world, which I'm like, okay, also, that's just, I don't know, whatever. Like, so he founds AIM, so the Avengers and S.H.I.E.L.D. are disbanded, and now AIM has now risen to power. They now are helping to reconstruct the city, like, they're now running it and controlling it, I think, I don't know. And he appears on this holographic projection, talking over the city, and he mentions how he was there when that explosion went off on A-Day, and he's like, but I don't know what happened to Captain America. And I'm like, really? This obvious is the plot. Like, the main bad guy saying, yeah, I don't know what happened to Captain Rogers. Like, oh my god, like, you might as well just put a sign on his face saying, yeah, I know, don't believe what's coming out of my mouth. Like, oh my god, it was, that plot point was so freaking obvious. So they make you play 2 more story missions in the beta, and they progressively kept going down for me in terms of quality, like, just kept going down for me. So the next mission is just Bruce Banner and Kamala Khan head off to this facility that I think it was either a former Avengers facility that now AIM runs, or it always was an AIM facility that now has a bunch of Avengers junk in it. I don't exactly recall because I didn't really give a shit much, whatever. And so you have to find Jarvis, you need his help to help them find Tony Stark. And there's one point in the mission where it's when you first play as Kamala Khan. So you have to turn on this generator to restore power to get in this room because you think Jarvis is in there. And there's 3 generators. One of them works, so you turn on the first one, enemy spawn. Turn on the second one, enemy spawn. Turn on the third one, it works, but also enemies still spawn. So, basic, right? Well, I turn on the first one, and, like, dumb me, I legit couldn't find the second one. And, like, I went to one that I thought it was the generator, but actually that was the third generator you had to turn on after the second one. So I couldn't find it for a while. I was just running around like a chicken with his head cut off, not knowing where to find this generator. So I was so confused, I ran past it a couple of times because I just wasn't realizing that was the second generator. I was like, oh my god. So it's my own stupidity not realizing that was the second generator. But that's not the problem. The problem is that the game doesn't help you, like, tell you that, give you any direction or hints that this is where the next generator is. And they don't get, there's no marker popping up on the screen saying, go here, like, which is a real problem to me. Like, I've been recently playing Last of Us Part 2, and in that game, and also I think in the first game as well, that because the locations you go to in the game are massive, so like you could be wandering around there for a while, like exploring and collecting collectibles, which I do a lot. And at some point, the game thinks you might be lost or don't know where to go. It'll ask you to press down on L3, the left joystick, and it'll either point your camera into the direction where you have to go, or put a marker on where you have to go, or like just give you a hint saying like go here. So they'll do that to help you out in case you're confused, which I like that. Not in this game. There's no direction saying, hey, this is where the generator is, go here. Just like, it's so bad. But what's even weirder is that once you get into that room, like I said, there's Avengers stuff in there, and that Avengers stuff has like a white glow on it that lets you know you can interact with that stuff. But they don't do that for the actual objective in the mission, which really confused me. Like, yeah, you can interact with Captain America's original shield or Iron Man's first Iron Man gauntlet, but why won't it point you or give you any kind of hint to where Jarvis is? I passed Jarvis once in the level because I was like so confused because like there's 2 shelves in there you have to move, which I thought moving either one of these 2 will find Jarvis, but you don't. You find a chest and Tony Stark's guitar, which he apparently has. And like I said, I passed Jarvis once, and there's a more obvious thing thinking like this big machine is where Jarvis is, but it's not. He's actually like buried deep behind, like right at the back of the wall where these old computers are, like, and that's where he is. But there's no indication you go there. It's a dark. That part of the room is dark there, and there's no indication you go there to get Jarvis. So like I said, I passed it once, but other people could pass it maybe more times. They could be confused because it's just weird to me what they choose to like put a glowing mark on to let you know you can interact with, and what they choose to not do, like do that with, which is, it's very confusing to me. It's kind of poor game design to me. And that level ends with like you fight Abomination as the Hulk, which that was a lot of fun. And then the third mission is like, I can't describe more so as Destiny. Like me and my friend kind of came to the agreement in this game that it's Destiny, but it's third person with Avengers. Like it literally is, because the mission was literally so like you have to get to this. So like I don't even exactly remember what the objective was. Like I said, that's how bad the story is. It's not awful, but it's not really giving me anything to like latch onto and get interested. But like, so basically, whatever it is, you have to like stand in this circle and like secure it until it reaches 100%, and you can't let AIM go in the circle and let them reach 100% with it. So like you're defending this circle like and fighting off a bunch of enemies. And I was playing that, I was like, wow, this is exactly like one of those Destiny public events with Glimmer, where you stand in a circle where this drill is mining down the ground trying to collect Glimmer, and then enemies will attack you. Like, that's what it exactly felt like. And it kind of did a bunch of other things in this game, like not story missions, but there are like missions where you and your friends can play and stuff, and those missions also felt like Destiny, because like they're hacking missions where, like, you know, in Destiny, if you played it, like your ghost will like scan a device or computer or whatever and like hack it, and then you have to defend off enemies while he does it. Well, it's not exactly like that. You have to like stand in the place of the computer to hack it while fighting off enemies, but still, it felt like that. It felt like that, and it was like, why? This is so dumb. How are these the levels for Avengers? Like, I hope these are not all the levels. Like, they're bad. Like, there's one level in particular. So like these missions you can play with your friends. One of them is like you have to destroy 4 generators, and like so we did that, and then the mission ended. Like, it was maximum 2-3 minutes maybe. And like we destroyed the 4 generators, and they're like, nice job, and then the mission ends, and we're like, huh? Like, it was so weird. Like why is it this short? It's so weird. Like honestly, it's just bad. It was bad level design, and plus none of the missions you play, like the missions me and my friend got a chance to play, just they weren't different. There was no real variety to these missions. They all felt just kind of the same. Like you're running through a corridor, fighting AIM soldiers, and you're either hacking something or breaking something. There was no variety to these missions. The only missions me and my friend had fun doing were the Harm Room missions. The Harm Room is basically like the Avengers training dojo. It's where like simulation, the bad guys will come and attack you, and like there were like 3 levels of the Harm Room, I guess, like intensity, and like you fight off 10 waves of enemies. And like those were honestly a lot of fun, which is kind of bad when like the most fun missions were like you fight enemies, you fight 10 waves of constant enemies, which that's pretty bad. when that's the most fun one.
This is so far the best mission so far, is we haven't had to fight AIM every time. My big boy Rock. That'd be amazing.
My one gripe, though, with the gameplay is probably the dodging. Now, basically every game allows you to dodge, like dodge enemies or lasers or missiles or whatever. But this game, it feels like a chore. It feels mandatory. Because, like, enemies swarm you so constantly. Like, there's so many enemies will just come charging at you or, like, shooting at you from a far distance. Like, it's so bad. Like, it felt like to me, like, I had to dodge, like, constantly. Like, I couldn't just properly fight someone. I had to, like, just keep dodging. Like, it was so ridiculous. And the dodging mechanics, like, particularly with the Hulk, like, I didn't like dodging with Hulk. It was kind of hard for me to do that because, like, there's a thing that, an icon will pop up on the screen indicating that there's, like, a missile coming at you, so you have to move. But they don't really properly indicate to you that well, like, what direction it's exactly coming from. So, like, you don't really know, like, do I go left or do I go right to dodge it? Like, it wasn't great for me. Like, particularly with the Hulk, it wasn't easy for me to dodge with him. Iron Man, it was a bit better, but still, it was kind of like, you felt like, it just felt so mandatory. Like, you just felt like, you couldn't just, like, just punch someone. You just had to, like, keep dodging, like, constantly. Like, it was so annoying, like, doing that, like, just constantly. But also, one thing I want to mention about the gameplay is that I experienced the worst glitch I've ever experienced in a video game in this beta. Now, I've experienced my fair share of glitches over the years in video games, like most people. This one is probably the worst I've ever encountered.
Like, why is it doing this? Let me go! Game, what is happening? Okay, where am I now? What the hell happened? What is going on? Where do I even go now? Like, what the okay, I'm straight, I'm just gone, like... Oh, I'm flying, what? Oh my god. I'm scared to move, or I'm gonna just glitch out my camera. Jesus Christ! Get me out of the floor! I don't know if I'm in the floor, or if I'm actually already at the second part of the floor, but like... I can't see my camera! What the, where am I? Where am I? Dude, I'm like I'm underneath the map. Like, why is it, what? It's like just space. Like, it's literally space. Just stars everywhere. Like, what? Am I in the Matrix? I'm slowly flying to B. This is so ridiculous. I've never seen this bad of a glitch in any game. What? Okay, now I'm back in the map, and now I'm now I'm back in the map. I'm gonna let you do everything right now until I can know I'm fine. Nope, it's not fine. As soon as I tried shooting at someone, as soon as I start going down one of the hallways, I start going glitchy. Dude, I can't. I literally can't go either of the hallways without my camera just glitching out. I'm gonna see if this does anything to fix it. Or will this make it? Oh my god, it worked! Why is this helping it? Like, no, stop! No.
So I don't know. Maybe Iron Man's got some weird bug in him that they need the fix. I don't know, but oh my god, it was awful. Like, I was so happy once that mission ended. Like, I literally couldn't help my friend at all. Like, it was so ridiculous, like, how bad it was. Also, speaking of Iron Man in the game, Nolan North voices him, and he's awful at it. Like, I love Nolan North. Like, the Uncharted series is my favorite game series, but he sucks. He sucks as Iron Man. Like, when I first heard that he was cast as him, I was like, that's bad. That is bad casting, and it really is.
Bustin' makes me feel good. That's a song. That's a song, everyone.
That is straight Deadpool. Like, that, the line, the delivery, like, all his delivery sounds like Deadpool. Like, was that the intention? I get what they were trying to do with Nolan North, because, like, Iron Man's kind of this cocky, funny kind of character, which Nolan North has experience with playing characters like Nathan Drake and Deadpool. But doesn't fit with this character. I don't know what kind of direction they gave him. Like, I don't know if it's the game director's fault or the script or himself, but, like, I don't know, because it just sounded like Deadpool. Like, were they telling him to do Deadpool? It just, all his lines just sound like they belong to the Deadpool. Like, just, it was so confusing, and just, all his lines just sucked. They all sucked in the game. There's also a photo mode in the game, which is probably the worst photo mode I've ever seen in the game. I mean, it has most things you expect it to have. Like, you can zoom in and out, you can tilt the screen, there's a brightness and saturation and filter settings, like, a lot of those basic necessities, but a few glaring neglections, like, there's no frame option. Like, you can't add any frame at all, which I was like, why? Like, that's a massive thing I think that's missing. Like, you can't, like, nothing at all, which I'm like, why? Like, almost every photo mode has that kind of thing. It feels like they put this in last minute, like, hey, every other game has a photo mode, why doesn't ours? So they last minute rushed this into the game. It just doesn't feel finished or polished, the photo mode. Like, I hope they improve it going forward, because you can also use it online, but of course they won't freeze the screen because, like, you're online, of course, but, like, you can't... I was trying to take a picture of Hulk, like, he was hanging on the side of the wall. I was trying to take a picture of Hulk from the front, but I couldn't move the camera in front of the Hulk without Hulk turning his back to the camera, so my friend had to take this picture. It's like, I don't know, it's weird things like that that I want to improve. The final thing I want to talk about with this game, which I feel like will be a massive problem going forward with this game, is the customization. Now, before I played the beta, I saw a video from IGN talking about how the gear does not change your appearance in the game. Which when I saw it, I'm like, what? Like, I thought, like, I only found out about a month ago, maybe, that the game had a customization option, which I'm like, okay, you know what, that's pretty cool. I can change the character designs in the game, that's a lot of fun. I can probably change Captain America's awful costume. Seriously, this is the worst Captain America costume I've ever seen. It's just, it looks like someone was trying to cosplay as Captain America and, like, just use whatever they had around the house. Like, just, it's bad looking. It's the worst one. Even the worst MCU costumes are better than this. The game is a loot-based game, right? Like, you collect gear and make your character more powerful, like Destiny. But if you can't change their appearance, what was the point of adding the loot-based system? Like, I was hoping the gear would look like costumes from the comics, so that way you could, like, mix-mash random costumes. So, like, you could have Iron Man wear the Mark I helmet, but then the rest of the body is the superior Iron Man costume. That'd be awesome, but you can't. Now, there are costumes in the game you can purchase using in-game currency, and there are a couple cool costumes in the game, like a modernized version of the original Iron Man costume, or Joe Fix-It Hulk, which is always awesome. And I'm not sure if that will change their look in the story. I think it does. I remember seeing a trailer one time of them wearing different costumes, so I think it does change their look. But still, how long can that last? The characters in the game maximum have 8 to 9 costumes, including the one they start off with. And, like, that's not a lot. Like, in comparison to Spider-Man, the base game alone started off with 30 costumes, and along with DLC and the free update costumes, like, that brought the total to 44 costumes. Like, that's a lot of costumes. And if, like, that was all for one character. And if all these, like, 6 characters don't have a maximum of, like, 8 to 9, like, I hope that's not true, because, like, that's very small. Like, most of the characters' costumes don't really look that interesting. Like, Iron Man has a good selection of costumes, but Kamala Khan doesn't. Like, most of her costumes are very generic and look the same, or are just t-shirts of her favorite superheroes. So, like, not a lot of variety. So I hope there's, like, more than just these costumes, because if you can't change their appearance, and, like, there's only, like, maximum 9 costumes for a character, I see it being a problem going forward with this game if, like, they intend for it to last a while, which, this is seriously a problem going forward, I think. Like, we know Spider-Man's coming to the game as a PlayStation exclusive, and I think they said it'll be a free update character, which I hope is the case for most of the characters. Like, we know Hawkeye's coming to the game, I think Ant-Man's coming to the game too, so, like, I hope they're just free update characters, because I don't want to pay money for, like, all these characters. That would suck. But anyways, my final verdict on the Avengers beta is a 5 out of 10. The gameplay is fun, the online co-op is a lot of fun, the graphics do look pretty good, there are a lot of cool costumes you can unlock throughout the game, the harem room missions are pretty fun too, but the story is not really that interesting. The level design is not great. There's a lot of just no variety in a lot of the missions also. You can't change your character's appearance with the gear, just all that stuff. So, yeah. Am I picking up on launch? No. I never really was planning on picking up on launch. Like, if anything, I'll wait till, like, I'm gonna probably wait until Spider-Man comes out, and then I'll probably buy it, so, yeah. But that's my verdict right now. My expectations were about Mets, and I was a little disappointed more than I thought I would be, so, yeah. But that's my thoughts. 5 out of 10, so... Yeah, thank you all for watching. Tell me in the comment section down below if you played the beta. Are you excited for it, or are you not? Are you going to pick it up on launch, or are you going to wait a little bit? Please let me know in the comment section down below. And yeah, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all later for another video. Goodbye. Hey, if you liked that video, guess what? YouTube picked out a video just for you on the left. Or, if you want to take my advice, watch the most recent video on the right. Thanks for watching.